Coach, what does this win mean for your program to come way up here in the Verizon Center against a power conference school? I'm pretty sure nobody gave you guys a shot. What does this mean for a mid-major program entering conference play?
Well, I think certainly it's got to give us a little bit of confidence going into conference play. We've got two more we got to worry about with Elon and Furman coming up, but really proud of the way that these young men played. You know, two freshmen and a sophomore sitting beside me. I thought when we built about an 8-9 point lead, I believe it was, Georgetown came back and tied the game up. Usually you could see some freshmen and sophomores get awfully rattled out there. Like you said, you're in playing a power conference team in a big arena. But they held their composure, stayed together, were tough, and we came out here with a good win.
Coach, you switched defenses regularly, matchup, 1-3-1 man. Why? What was its impact? And which defense do you think was most effective tonight?
You know, I think it's important to, when you're facing good players, as Georgetown has, you can't let them get in a rhythm. And you got to find ways to keep them off balance a little bit. And I thought by switching from our man defense to a zone to a 1-3-1 gap defense, we were able to kind of keep them off balance. Sometimes, particularly when you play open post motion teams, they kind of get in a rhythm. And they get in a rhythm of shoot threes and get a lot of backdoor cuts. And so the other part of that is we wanted to play some zone because they're huge. We couldn't just play man-to-man defense with their front line of 6'7", 6'9", 7 foot. We knew we were at a disadvantage when it comes to size, so we tried to use our length and our athletic ability around the perimeter to try to negate some of that size.
How much did you talk to your team about the fact that they were just coming off the Monmouth loss? They had lost to Radford earlier in this year. The fact that some teams, maybe with your sort of profile, have come in here and had success? Yeah,
we mentioned it, but to be honest with you, very briefly, we just wanted to focus on who we are and who Georgetown is. And that's been our primary focus leading up to the game. We did talk a little bit about, the teams that have had success have been smaller teams, teams that are very similar in size and style. They've played very, very well against. Great win over Syracuse, Wisconsin game, the Duke game. So we wanted to involve their bigs a little bit on the perimeter, and I thought again these guys did a nice job of that.
In terms of their high post looks, spread looks, do you think the spacing is going well for them? Do you see a hiccup when they move their big up to the high post and run off?
I think when they have their big up high, particularly Hayes, if he was a knockdown shooter, it would be very difficult to defend. When the other big fellow is it Govan? Is that the way they pronounce it? Govan. When he's there, obviously they get throwbacks and he could shoot that. At least he was 50% coming in the game from three and a high free throw percentage shooter. But you can't discount Hayes. I mean, he had 11 and 18, so he does his job around the basket. But when he's getting a lot of high post touches, it didn't bother us, the fact that we were smaller. He was out where I thought our guys had an advantage.
Coach, they went 4 for 22 behind the three-point line. Do you think that's an aberration, or do you think that's defense?
Maybe both. Maybe both. Certainly in a game like this, to beat a team like Georgetown, you have to shoot it pretty well ourselves and hope that they have a little bit of an off night. And I thought both happened. We shot 47% from three, and they were, as you mentioned, 4 for 22 from behind the arc. The thing I thought we did a really nice job of was handling their press. To only have 9 turnovers in a game where they threw a lot of press at us. And we saw that a little bit on tape with their Monmouth in the Monmouth game, where they had to press out of necessity at the end. But tonight they started in it real early, and I thought as much as they pressed us, we did a nice job of not turning it over.
Defensively, beyond the fact that they shot poor percentage from three, it seems, especially at the end of the game, they really struggled to get a good shot. They were kind of searching for things. How much, I guess, defensively did you feel? What did you guys do for there? And for them, I guess the fact that they don't really have a primary ball handler, point guard type, how much did that maybe impact their play?
Well, late I thought that us, again, switching back from zone to man kept them a little bit out of a rhythm. That's kind of been who we are, who we've been early this year. When you've got versatile pieces with lengthy guards, it makes it difficult to just stand there and shoot. Usually you may be shooting over a 6'1" or 6'2" guard, but with length like these two young men have, going back to your question earlier, is it defense or is it just an aberration? I think, again, shooting over 6'5" length is a little more difficult.
24, you hit a lot of shots today. Some of them off of spacing, kind of spread out when ball reverse or whatever. Did you see that they were losing you during the game? Is that something that you picked up on?
Yes, sir. When I was, but yeah, sometimes in the offense, we got our bigs do well passing the ball out of the post, and Will Weeks, he's one of the best at it. So I just kind of move around and try to find an open spot and let him find me. So.
I had a question for Dylan Smith. Is that you? Or have you a question? Okay, I'm sorry. The last 4 or 5 possessions, they seemed very unsure of what exactly they wanted to do. Did you guys sense some nervousness coming out of them the last couple possessions?
Not really. I mean, Smith Rivera, he's a senior. He's been here and done that, so I'm pretty sure he wasn't nervous. But we just wanted to get this win as a team. We all just wanted to come together and just push it out. We run 4-minute segments in practice, and we want to win every segment. The last 4 minutes, we just wanted to win.
Coach, I'm just wondering, when a school of your profile schedules a team like Georgetown, it's not they go viewed as a game that you're necessarily going to win. But I'm just curious, when you scheduled it, what were your expectations for this game, and as going into today, how had those changed, if any?
We schedule these games for several reasons. One is to help our athletic budget, but the other is our goal each and every year is to win our league tournament. Win the league tournament, you advance to the NCAA tournament, and you're going to face a power conference team, a school like ours. You're going to face a power conference team in an arena that size, and I don't want to get to that game and it be the first time that these young men have ever been there. You've played Texas A&M, Tennessee, Georgetown, and big arenas, power conference teams, these young men keep getting more and more comfortable. And so if we're fortunate enough to win our league and advance to the NCAA tournament, it's not halftime before they get their eyes out of the rafters. They've kind of been there, done that. So again, I was really proud of the way they came together, and it's a big win for us.
When you missed your first couple in the second half, did you decide to do more dribble drive at that point, or are you just the kind of shooter that just needs to just keep shooting?
I just was told to keep shooting with confidence, and if you miss a few, that's going to happen. Everybody misses a few, so just kept playing the game and took what they gave us, and the whole team really was playing well. We were really working well together.
22, you got to the rack for some big second half buckets. Was that something Coach told you to do, or was that just part of your game?
That's just part of my game. I know I hit a couple of threes, so they're going to play up a little bit closer towards the second half. And I just happen to get them off the dribble and get to the rim a little bit easier.
Coach, when you came in preparing for this game, you see that, as you mentioned, the Georgetown team played Maryland and Syracuse and Duke, very tough. And then you have what they've been doing recently. What's been the biggest difference you've seen from that team early on this season to the team that's playing right now, the last week or so?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they have locker room. I don't know if they have locker room issues or just confidence issues, or maybe none of that. That it's just a matter of the opponent and the matchups. Sometimes it's difficult when because we've had them 7-footers. We've had a 7'9" guy about 10 years ago. It's very difficult for those kind of players to match up with smaller forwards, versatile 6'5", 6'6" guys that have to come out and chase them. Even our own bigs. When you saw our team, we've got a 6'9", 250 and a 6'10", 240 guy on our team. And it's tough for them to match up with Sam Hughes, Ahmad Thomas, Will Weeks in practice. And as long as you're not getting beat on the glass, rebounding wise, if you can defend and rebound with the smaller team, then you're awfully versatile and quick and can pass and catch and move the offense fast on the other end. And right now we're just doing a nice job of defending as a team and rebounding as a team. And what it forces is Derrickson, Hayes, Govan to have to chase some smaller, maybe a little quicker, faster guys. I'm sure Hayes would rather have faced our big kid all night long and just post up because that's where he's comfortable. And on the other end, we would have had to have done the same thing because that's where our big kid is more comfortable down there. Well, that matchup, that favors Hayes. And so what we wanted to do was see him down low versus our guys on the perimeter, which kind of tug of war was going to win out. And so again, I think maybe that's part of it. Radford's a team in our league, so we're very familiar with how fast they are, how small they are, but they are very difficult to guard. Rashawn Davis, quick as lightning, and when you've got smaller teams that move that ball around and force you to chase them, it makes it difficult.
Coach, when you get the kind of balance you got out of your lineup today, I mean, what's that say about, what's in the locker room, but the way they attacked the Georgetown defense?
Well, I think first of all, it really is a fun group to coach and a special group. They love playing with each other. They share the ball. One night you see Ahmad Thomas has 21, and the next night Dylan Smith has 19, and it may be Kevin Bonata the next night. So I think you're more difficult to defend when there's 5 or 6 guys that can put up significant numbers. I think coming into the game, we might have 4 guys averaging between 10 and 11. And so very balanced scoring to where they couldn't just, other teams, not just Georgetown, nobody could just kind of key in on one guy and cut the head off the snake and stop the team. And that's has made us tough to defend, I guess.
Coach, you played Tennessee tough, and now you beat Georgetown to do wins over big names. Add to your confidence, or going into your conference play?
It should. It should. Again, that's these are good teams and big wins. And, there are some really good teams in our league. You saw what High Point did the other night with NC State. Cat Barber makes a shot at the buzzer. So it's not just us in our league that's capable of doing this. Coastal Carolina takes Wake Forest to the 6-point game last night. And so this is a great win on the road versus a good team. League play will be the same way. And that's kind of what we talk to our guys about. If you can come on the road and beat Georgetown at Georgetown, then you can go on the road and beat the upper level teams in our league. So yes, it has to give us a ton of confidence.
Coach, what was you telling your team when Georgetown kept making the game close throughout the game?
Just keep doing what we do. We said that to all the guys over and over. Win each segment. The game's not going to get to triple zeros in the blink of an eye. You've just got to keep doing what we do. And that's what we kept telling them is whether they make a run and take the lead or whether we push it out, you got to stay consistent with what we do. Don't freelance, because what we do got us where we are. And so keep doing it. And we did. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.